I was involved in the whiskey project of a lifetime, from concept to cask to bottle.
This place is incredible.
We experience the inspiration that comes from putting like-minded people in a room and letting them cook. The initial excitement when we tasted Cask 88 and the now late lamented 188, and the collaborative spark when Stefan first blended those samples together, and the collective gasp when we realized we could create something truly unique with the addition of Kanosuke single malt. And there was serendipity when we stumbled across the Umeshu cask in the warehouse. And I exclaimed,
"Let's bottle this."
That moment crystallized everything this project represents. The marriage of tradition and innovation, the blending of different spirits and cultures, and the unexpected magic that happens when you follow your passion. Years in the making, my dream whiskey collaboration has led to these 3 exclusive bottlings. Wow, I can't believe this. I'm so nervous. Opening the bottles which I helped select. Welcome to Kanpai Planet. I'm Mac, coming to you from Aloha Whiskey Bar in Tokyo, and today we're diving into something very special. The latest release in the iconic Ghost series, number 23. And now it's finally time to taste those drams. I'm so excited, I really can't wait to try them. Will they deliver? Let's find out. Founded by whiskey writer and legend Stefan van Erken, the Ghost series has charted the modern journey of Japanese whiskey since its inception, often showcasing the innovative or quirky side of Japanese whiskey. This is the first ever Ghost series release to consist of more than one bottle. In fact, it's a triptych. Follow the journey in a special documentary exclusive to Kanpai Planet in glorious Technicolor. So, now that you've all gone and watched that and returned here, let's dive straight into these bottles, 23A, 23B, and 23C. It goes without saying that all 3 of these bottles are non-chill filtered, natural color, and real Japanese whiskey. 23A and 23B are pretty special because they're the first ever single casks to be released from the Hioki Distillery in Kagoshima, Japan. Hioki is the sister distillery of Kanosuke, and it's where they make their grain whiskey. They were made in pot stills, not the column stills usually associated with grain whiskey, from a mash bill of 100% barley, majority unmalted, but a small percentage of malted barley. 23A was aged for about 45 months in a virgin American white oak Puncheon, medium char no less. And 23B was aged for about 42 months in an ex-Bourbon barrel. We were lucky enough to be able to bottle one of each cask type at a whopping 64% ABV no less, which enables whiskey fans to compare the effects of the differing maturation in each one. What's in this bottle is liquid which is 5 months older than the sample that you see me sample.
This is absolutely fantastic.
Along with Stefan, Roland, Tatsuya, and Shunichi. When we selected Cask 88, and this is 2 months older than this, which is what we sampled, of HG 287. So, without further ado, let's check out the colour. Wow, what an inviting dram. This is a beautiful, deep, golden, luscious, on the nose. Ooh. Straight up, there are these gorgeous toffee and caramel notes up front. And then things get even deeper and you've got these raisins and dates. I'm getting some lovely pastry notes too, like you've just walked into a fancy Tokyo bakery. That sweetness and that pastry, it kind of reminds me of a creme brulee donut. There's this interesting woody and earthy character there as well. It's making it all quite complex. It's kind of like that deep umami-ish character that you get in a wonderful Japanese soup stock. The forest after rain vibes are actually also strong with this one. It reminds me of a younger version of the Glenmorangie 23, Dr. Bill Lumsden and Azuma Makoto collaboration. So this is it, my first mouthful of liquid from Ghost Series number 23, Kanpai. Oh, that's absolutely fascinating. We've got this wonderful dance between the sweet and the spicy notes. The kind of toffee, caramel, vanilla notes front and center, and they're accompanied by some coconut milk and some fresh cream. But there's balance here, this warming array of spices cutting through nutmeg, cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, pepper, and a sort of citric lilt that really brightens things up, along with some nuttiness as you go into the finish. And speaking of that finish, it is long and lingering. There's creamy custard, some milk chocolate, and this kind of gentle heat. It actually reminds me of some of that Mexican, Mayan spiced chocolate. And that citrus, appropriately for Kyushu, there's some kabosu there too. This is a delectable dram, rich and Moorish and pretty outstanding. Now, before we go on, a big shout out to cask 188. Couldn't be with us tonight. That's the cask we originally selected from the ex-Bourbon barrel samples we were given that became a part of the regular core range Hioki pot still release. This may actually be the last surviving 188 liquid in the world. Now on to 23B, HG287 Single Cask Hioki grain whiskey aged in an ex-Bourbon barrel. Checking out the colour, we can see that it's lighter than 23A, a bright amber, lovely. On the nose. Ooh. Oh, interesting. A little bit more subdued than the nose on 23A. So there's that citrus again, more like a lemon cake, a bit of creme brulee as well. Of course, would I have selected it if there wasn't any? But also there are these fresh fruit notes, freshly picked apples, pears, and a bit of melon as well. I have actually picked the first two of those three. Underneath there's a savoury character, which is, it's kind of like a mix between wild mushrooms and hojicha, which is my favourite type of Japanese tea, that roasted green tea. Well, it's certainly inviting, so let's go for it. Kanpai. Boom! That is a flavour explosion. The Great Nippon Bake Off continues with some scones actually, Devon style, with jam on top. But that heat of the alcohol, this is 64% ABV after all, actually enhances the tea notes and those mushroom notes I found on the nose. Yeah, there's actually a lot of tea notes here and a little bit of coffee too. Well, the curtain call certainly delivers. That finish is, again, long, and some of those citrus notes kind of start to warm up, become a little bit spicy. There's a product that is from the Seto Uchi region in Japan called Lemosco, and this reminds me of that. Lemon, Tabasco, Lemosco. This dram really tells a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, rather like the journey to actually bottling this thing. So, head to head, that's a really tough one. It must be like picking your favorite child, or much more importantly, picking your favorite episode of The Sopranos. But maybe the 88 just edges it for that increased balance of kind of sweet and spice. I can't decide. I love you both the same. Now on to 23C, and this is a very special, very unique release. This is a single blended cask of the remainder of HG88 and HG287, blended with a cask strength version of the single malt Kanosuke core release, whose components themselves have been aged for between 3 to 5 years. That concoction was then married in a fresh Komasa Jozo ex-Umeshu cask for 10 months. That cask PL04 had contained Umeshu made from plum varieties Shirakaga and Oshoku, grown in Nara Prefecture. It was Suntory that popularized Umeshu cask-aged liquid. In 2008, they released 3,000 bottles of Yamazaki plum liqueur cask finish exclusively for the bar trade. Their most famous example was the now discontinued Hibiki 12, where Umeshu cask matured malt whiskey played a key role in its distinctive layered character. Well, we're bringing Umeshu back. And this, incredibly, is the first time that I'm actually trying 23C. Wow. At Whiskey Festival 2024 in Osaka, I had the chance to taste some cask strength single malt Kanosuke that had been finished in an ex-Umeshu cask for 7 months. Ooh, this is really good. Yep. The experience was eye-opening, reminding me just how much depth and complexity this type of finish can bring to a whiskey. Clearly, Nakamura-san delivered news of my enthusiasm back to Kanosuke HQ because for their Distillery Fest in November 2024, they dropped some single malt Kanosuke finished in an Umeshu cask as their festival bottling. That sample I tried was from PL03. The distillery exclusive bottling was a combination of PL01 and PL02, and this is from PL04. Let's check it out. This is the darkest one yet. I can see that the Umeshu cask has imparted some nice colour as well as hopefully some lovely flavour to the dram. On the nose. Oh wow. Ooh. This one's made me do a double take. Right, straight up you've got that Kokuto Japanese brown sugar on the nose. Wow. You got some flaky kind of Danish pastries and a bit of that foresty, piney element that was in the 88 23A. After all, that does make up 38% of what's in this bottle, albeit transformed by that Marion cask. So you do have some of those stone fruit elements, which is very characteristic of Umeshu cask influence. Kanpai. Ooh, that sweetness has evolved beautifully. We've got some syrup-drenched French toast and some almond-encrusted French tea cake. Man. Sweet potato also makes an appearance, rather appropriate given this liquid was made in Kyushu. Alongside some artificial fruit notes, it really is taking me back to my English school childhood. It really has some tuck shop vibes here. And that deep Kokuto sweetness ties everything together along with a bit of sourness. The finish is, again, long. Those French bakery qualities continue along with some candied orange peel with its perfect balance of bitterness and sweetness. It reminds me of a yuzu meringue pie I had in Paris when I was over in France for the Rugby World Cup 2023. This is devastatingly good stuff. Given I was part of the team that selected these historic casks, you might be surprised to hear that I'm very proud of all 3 bottles. In terms of my favourite, that's very tough. I really love this 23C and what that Umeshu cask finish has done to it, but I also truly love the raw power of 23A. Luckily for you, there are more of 23C kicking around. 570 bottles versus 200 bottles each for 23A and B. The whiskies were officially released in Japan on the 3rd of March 2025, with priority given to selected bars, followed by a rollout in select markets, again focusing on the on-trade. This brings a 2-year journey to a close. And what can I say? It's been emotional. It's been a lot of time, a lot of effort, and yes, a lot of money, but I have to say, it's been worth it. The Ghost series has always been about highlighting the unexpected. With this triptych, we've captured not just exceptional liquid, but a moment in time when Hioki's grain whiskey first stepped onto the world stage. This triptych isn't just 3 bottles. It's a testament to friendship, collaboration, and the endless possibilities that emerge when passion meets opportunity. Thank you to the team at Kanosuke for their trust, openness, and willingness to embrace our vision, to Roland, and to Stefan van Aken for allowing Kanpai Planet to be a part of Japanese whiskey history. Until next time, kanpai.